Hey everybody, what's going on? Well, here we are. This has been a month of isolation. A month of isolation. Unbelievable. Hopefully we've lived through the worst and now we can start taking little steps, little baby steps back to a somewhat normal life. But that's just me trying to stay optimistic here. Hope everyone is healthy. Hope everyone is out there safe and staying at home and staying away from the virus. We all got to do our part. I'm doing mine. I'm staying in as much as I can to the point where I'm going stir crazy. But thank God for music to keep me company during this isolation. That's what these videos have been about lately. So I'm going to show you music that has been keeping me company while I've been staying at home. And we'll start with this record from Marillion. It is Clutching at Straws. This is the box set, the deluxe box set that came out a couple of years ago. I have the digital version of this box set, which came with CDs and a Blu-ray. The Blu-ray contains a documentary of the band, this lineup of Marillion with Fish, and as they are now, older, and they're just going over the memories of writing, recording, and touring Clutching at Straws. And I love that documentary. Of all the documentaries that come out in these box sets of Marillion, that has to be my favorite, though I haven't seen the one for Script yet. But yeah, so watching the documentary put me in the mood to listen to this entire thing. Not the entire box set, but the album. I came close to listening to all, because this comes with live tracks as well. And, you know, I have trouble figuring out what my favorite Marillion album is, if it's Misplaced Childhood or this one. Let's just say for this week, it's this one, because I just finished listening to this a few days ago, and I really jumped into it. Listened to the whole album, listened to most of the live tracks. There's a lot of records in here, a lot of records, and it is enjoyable. It is really, really enjoyable. It's an enjoyable box set. Like I said, it came with the remastered album, plus 3 live records of a recording back during 1987 when they were touring this record. So, my God, this is such a awesome album. It was the last album to feature Fish as the lead singer of Marillion, and it's one of my favorite records from them. Okay, like I said, it is my favorite record from them from this week. And the music with Fish, the albums, I mean, just got progressively better until he left the band. He only did 4 albums with them, and they are magic. And this one especially, the whole album is good. To me, there's no weak songs on this whole record. I like the whole thing from start to finish. I usually listen to it from start to finish. I don't just skip to the tracks I like and ignore the rest. I really listen to the whole thing. And so enjoyable. So, Clutching at Straws has to be one of my favorite. Well, like I said, it's my favorite. I'm going to go back and forth on that forever. So, Clutching at Straws. Another classic kind of hard rock prog band is Rush, and I decided to listen to a bootleg, Spirit of the Airwaves from Rush. This is a bootleg. It's from a radio broadcast live in 1980 from Missouri, St. Louis, Missouri. So, and at the time they were touring the album Permanent Waves. So it has, you know, Spirit of Radio and a lot of songs from that album. So, well, to be sure which one. So, I know Spirit Radio is in there. Natural Science is another one. I think those are the only 2 on this record from that album. They got a lot of their older ones. Like side 1 is all of 2112. There's the track listing if you want to pause and give it a look-see. But anyway, this is a bootleg, but a real nice one. There's the gatefold. And is pressed on this nice silver vinyl. So really nice record. And those are the labels for it. It's a pro recording, so like I said, it's a radio broadcast, so it's a pro recording, so it sounds really good. Really good era of Rush because they're still pretty young in this one, and they sound like it, young and hungry and going for it. And this really sounded like it was an awesome concert. Awesome concert. Like I said, it starts with the whole 2112, side one of 2112. By Tour, the Snow Dogs, Xanadu, Spirit of Radio, Natural Science, Long Medley, Working Man, Finding My Way, Anthem, Bastille Day. Just a great. That's just the name of a few. There's a lot more songs on here. That's just names a few, but oh my God, it's good. It's so good. I absolutely love this album, and I had this as a CD bootleg for many years. So it's so cool to have this as a record now, because it was, for a long time, it was one of my favorite CD bootlegs from Rush, and so it's really great to have this on vinyl. Sounds fantastic. So it's a really, really good release from Rush. Loved it so much, it got me to pull my MoFi copy of Permanent Waves, because that bootleg sounded so great. Great pressing of this album. It's MoFi. The mix is really good on here. Really punchy. The bass and the drums are really punchy, but you get the nice mixture of mids and highs for keyboards and vocals and cymbals and guitars. Sounds really, really awesome. One thing I noticed about this MoFi pressing is that this album cover looks really dark compared to any other cover of Permanent Waves. This one just came out particularly dark. I don't know why, but anyway, it's a great pressing. The audio mix on here is really good. Great sounding album. I was listening to this with my headphones, and oh my God, did it sound dreamy with the headphones. This is just a killer album. Like the Marillion record I just showed you, I love the whole thing. Not a weak song on this entire record. Every song is just killer. All killer. And it's hard to say what Rush is best. Everybody likes 21, I mean not 21, well yeah, they like 2112, but everyone's favorite Rush record usually is not Permanent Waves, Moving Pictures. Going blank for a second. And that would be my favorite too. But Permanent Waves is right up there with 2112 and Moving Pictures. It is a damn good album, and it holds up really well today as it did back when it came out in 80, I believe. So this is just a classic album, and I'm really glad to have a MoFi pressing of it, because the mix on here is just fucking badass. Trust me, that album hits hard when it comes to the bass. So classic stuff there. Another classic is from Genesis, Nursery Crime. This is the Japanese pressing, as you can tell. I'm a big Genesis fan, obviously, so I got a huge Genesis collection on vinyl, on CD, on cassette, and bootlegs, blah, blah, blah. So to show my entire Genesis collection would take forever. That's why I'd never done it on a video before, because trust me, that video would be way too long, and my videos are too long to begin with. And my favorites of theirs, as far as the Peter Gabriel era, is The Lamb and Selling New England by the Pound are probably the two I listen to the most. I love this album though, but I have to admit I don't listen to it as much as I should, because this album is pretty spectacular. Very spectacular. Musical Box and Fountain of Salmacis and The Giant Hogweed, those three songs make this record for me. I mean, other great songs on here as well, but those three songs really define what this album is to me. And I love that Charisma label. You just think Genesis when you see that label. It wouldn't be a Genesis record without that label. Let's just put it that way. And this album sounds so good. This is a great pressing. I have the remastered on vinyl of this. Well, of all the Peter Gabriel era records that was in the big green box. It came out some years ago, like 2007, I believe. And I mean, those sound great too, and I love those. I think a lot of the hardcore Genesis fans complain about the remastered mixes a lot, especially when it comes to these 70s albums. I love them, but I gotta admit, this sounds great. It does rival those remasters, though the remasters, like I said, sound good. This sounds really good, really spectacular. Almost forgot how great this album was. Well, not really, but it's just been a while since I've spun it in its entirety. I didn't hop around. Since I got a lot of time in my hands now, I decided to listen to the whole record start to finish, and boy was that enjoyable. So that is just an amazing album. Okay, and another amazing proggy band is Dream Theater. As you can see, I got the matching shirt. Well, not from this album though. Train of Thought. One of my favorite Dream Theater records. It is a heavy album. for if you're more of a fan of the metal side of Dream Theater, this is a damn good record to have. The first 4 songs just really kick some ass on this album. I remember seeing a show during this tour, and there was no opening act, and Dream Theater just played for 3 hours, pretty much non-stop. I don't think they took a break. This is a 2-record set, but I just want to show you the labels. Even though the labels aren't anything that fancy, I wanted to show them anyway, because I really dig this album. The music on this album is just kick-ass, like I said. The first 4 songs are just an adrenaline rush. Well, I mean, Endless Sacrifice has its kind of mellow moments. It kind of goes. It's kind of those songs where it messes around with the dynamic. Starts off real soft and then progresses to a lot of power, some power riffs and some jamming, soloing. So, and the artwork I always thought was pretty interesting on this album. If you can kind of zoom in on those. Great album. Great album. The ending song, that closes this album, is just absolutely great. And The Name of God, that's another great song. But the first 4 songs on this album really set the pace well. It's going to be a thrill ride. It's going to be full of adrenaline, and it's going to be a thrill ride. And you're going to hear some heavy metal prog riffing and jamming on this record. It is a lot of balls and chunk, basically. Good record, really good record. One of my favorite from Dream Theater. Love listening to it. Alright, and the last proggy record I'll show is Sound of Contact. Their album Dimensionaut, or their only album actually. Sound of Contact. Phil Collins' son, Simon Collins, is on this album. He sings and plays drums just like his dad. And this was his band a few years ago. Unfortunately, they only made this one album, and they tried to make a second album. I don't know what went wrong. Couldn't get along, couldn't agree, I don't know. And the band broke up, so they only have this one album. But it is a good one. It is a real good one. Sounds a lot like 70s and early 80s Genesis mixed in with maybe some Pink Floyd and some Porcupine Tree. Does have that sound to it. But this is just a really good album. I actually saw the one tour they did. They did do one short tour of the U.S. and they did a show in Hollywood, California. And I drove all the way out there, went to Amoeba Records first, and then saw Sound of Contact in concert. That was a great show. A really good show. I had a great time. I even met Simon Collins, and he looks a lot like his dad did back in the early Genesis days. He kind of has that look about him. But a really good album. This is a great album. It's a concept record, and such a thrill ride on this record. It's a sci-fi themed concept album, but some great instrumental pieces on this record. Really good album, very impressive. I wish they had done a second album. That would have been so cool. And I would have bought it and went to a show, and I would have really got all fanboy on it. Unfortunately, they only have this one album, but oh my God, is it good? Is it good? The last side of this record is all one song called Mobius Slip, and it's just a really epic prog piece that really ends this album well. Can't say enough about this band. Great band. Like I said, it's a pity they only put out one record. I wish they had put out at least that second album. That would have been something special. Alright, so that's the proggy side of my listening for the past week. Some other records of a different style. The Smithereens, Live at the Roxy. This is such a fun album to listen to. I love the Smithereens because they are a really good live band, and unfortunately I never saw them live before. That's why I'm glad I have this record. Just gives you an idea how good of a live act they were and how much their fans loved them. This is a radio show. This record is a radio show, and it captured a show in Hollywood, California, the famous Roxy Theater, which is next door to the Rainbow Bar and Grill. Vacation there many times, so I imagine seeing a show and then going to the Rainbow afterwards had to be a great time, especially back in the 80s. Really cool. I don't know if it gives a year when this show was recorded or when it broadcasted, so it doesn't really give that information on here. So I'm not quite certain what the date is on this, and I didn't really see it anywhere on here. So I think this came out somewhere around 85 or 86. I think the year that this was recorded. But great live band. Like I said, one of my favorites from the day. I do have a few of their albums. I don't have a lot. I think I have this and about 3 of their other records, and but they're definitely one of my favorite bands to listen to in my collection. Every time I come to Smithereens Records, I have a great time and spin the whole thing. Oh, they're awesome. They're awesome. I wish I could have seen the band when the lead singer was still alive. That would have been a real treat. But at least we got the albums. At least I got this very rare Live at the Roxy recording. And what's cool about this is not only does it give some good live recordings, but there's interview recordings mixed in between the songs as well. Like I said, it's a radio show. So when there's interviews from band members, they comment on how the band was first formed, who knew who, when they first started jamming. They started off as a cover band, playing at parties. Eventually would write their own songs, and eventually got a recording contract. And they even tell some of the stories of how some of these songs were written. So really interesting stuff to listen to. Not only is the music good, but you got some interview recordings that are real fun to listen to. Staying with the 80s theme here. Echo and the Bunnymen, Greatest Hits Live. And Greatest Hits Live in London, excuse me. Bought this album one of many trips I take to Hollywood and visit Amoeba. This was one record I picked up there. I've never seen it anywhere else but at Amoeba. And great. I mean, basically if you're a fan of this band, it has all the songs that you would want to hear. Lips Like Sugar, The Cutter, Killing Moon, Ocean Cloud. Not Ocean Cloud. Ocean Rain. Ocean Cloud. That's a Marillion song. Ocean Rain. Some really great songs on here, and a really good live recording too. Good energy on this record too. I mean, I'd never seen this band live either, and after hearing this, I want to. They are a really good live band as well. And an evening with Echo and the Bunnymen would be a kick-ass evening. So I got to keep my eyes open for them once we start having concerts again. Hopefully they'll hit the road and I'll check them out. More 80s coming your way. The Pretenders, Learning to Crawl. Another Mo-Fi pressing. I'm so glad I got this album on Mo-Fi because this thing sounds so good. And this is my favorite album from this band. Well, it'd be between this album and their first album, because both those records are just absolutely amazing. And here's the gatefold for this pressing of the album. Oh, such a good song. Middle of the Road, Back in the Chain Gang, Time the Avenger, Show Me, My City Was Gone, 2,000 Miles. Those are my favorite songs. The album ends with the song 2,000 Miles, and that is a perfect song to end such a good record on. Such a good record. I'd never seen the Pretenders live either. But trust me, the mid-'80s, that was the time to see them. Early to mid-'80s. Had to be the best time to see them. Probably late 70s too, but if I could just get in a time machine and just see these certain bands that were in their prime, that must be a joy to see. I gotta get my hands on a time machine before I can do things like that. That may be like the only reason I'd use it. Just to see concerts from back in the day that I missed out on. And this is definitely one of those bands I would see if I had a time machine. Awesome album, just an awesome album. Another fun band is the Plimsouls, Everywhere at Once. My cover band covers the song A Million Miles Away, which is on this album. And of all the covers we do, that is probably my favorite one. That is such a fun song to cover because people aren't expecting to hear that in a bar. And they look at us amazed like no one covers this song. And it's cool to surprise people that way. It really is. And this is a great album. This is a cool album. Fun album. Definitely a fun album to listen to. I enjoyed this one. And I'm surprised I was able to find a lot of copies of their albums in 12-inch singles. I thought it would be impossible to find, but when I looked and started snooping around for it in record stores, they were coming up almost every time. So I amazed myself at how easy it was to find their records. And this is a gold stamp promo, so it's an early pressing of this album. Very cool album. Dig listening to it. And I love playing Million Miles Away. I love covering that song. I gotta record it one of these days on video and upload it to my channel to show you guys. I love playing that song. And I think my band plays it pretty well. And people really seem to like it. So, great record. Another great record. One of my favorite records in my collection is U2 Unforgettable Fire. And this one is a remaster recording made in the Czech Republic. So it's an import record. But the remastering on this, oh my god, does it sound good. I have a used copy, American used copy. That sounds really good. It does sound really good for a used copy. Until I bought this. This sounds a million times better. Such a great recording, and all the little stuff in the background you can hear nice and clearly, and the bass and the drums really kicking hard. Oh, and the vocals are laid so smoothly on this album. This thing sounds so good, and all those cool guitar effects the Edge uses in the right and left channel. It sounds great, and came with this book as well. There we go. And it's just a book of photography during this time that they were making the record. Just something really nice to have. This and the Joshua Tree are my favorite albums from YouTube. I think bands of the band that usually is their favorite. Sometimes I think I like this one more than Joshua Tree. Joshua Tree had more hits, though this album did have hits. Pride in the Name of Love being the biggest one, and that's Pride in the Name of Love is really when I first really heard of U2. I mean, I remember this. I do remember hearing Sunday Bloody Sunday before hearing Pride in the Name of Love, but Pride in the Name of Love actually made me remember the band name and the members in it. That's Pride really made a big impression on me when it was first released as a single and played on MTV. It really stood out to me, and been a big fan of U2 ever since that time. And all these songs sound great on this remastered recording. Really good. It's a great pressing of it. If you're a fan of this album, you definitely got to get this. I think it was reissued, and they might have remastered that one, I guess. But I never looked into it because I have this copy. I've had it for years, and this will be my my go-to copy when I want to listen to Unforgettable Fire, because this album is classic. I love it, and really sounds good on here. Another classic band is Toto. This is their anniversary record, 40 Trips Around the Sun, for their 40th anniversary. This came out a couple of years ago. And this is a combination of new songs with their classic songs like Africa and Rosanna, 99, Georgie Porgy, Hold the Line. But the new songs are really good on here. They have a song called Alone in Spanish C that I really like. So, good picture of the band here in the gatefold. Very good collection. I know there's other best of collections from Toto, but I really like this one. This one sounds really good. Really dig this. It's just a great record. It's a 2-record set. A lot of great songs on it. Fun listen. I kind of like these compilations. It's nice to have like some of the greatest songs from these bands all in one collection in one go, so you get to listen to it in one go. It's great. And the new songs on here, like I said, are really good. But besides the typical songs that we like is Africa and Rosanna, the rest of the record really kills on this album. So really good to listen to, really good listening, really fun album. So glad it's in my collection, and I love the cover too. Cover's really cool. So great record, great record. All right, we're gonna end it with a disco record. Sometimes I get that mood, folks. I love me some disco, and this is the classic one. It's Michael Jackson, Off the Wall. This is an audiophile pressing, little half-speed mastering deal. Sounds so good. Sounds so good. And let me just, there we go. That's the whole story here. Side 1 is pretty much perfection on this record. It is perfection. Absolutely love side 1 on here. Basically the first 5 songs, because the first song on side 2 is the title track, Off the Wall, and that is a great song too. The whole album is damn good, but those first 5 songs, that's perfection right there. And I don't need to go over what those songs are. We all know this record. It's Michael Jackson, for Christ's sakes. Such a good, I like this better than Thriller. Don't get me wrong, Thriller's a good album too. A great album. Best-selling record of all time. But for my ears, I love going to this. This is a go-to record. I love this album. I love spinning it. I have a great time spinning this album when I'm feeling shitty. Throw this record on, I usually feel a lot better by the time the first song is over. So, this is a good album. Classic. One of those records that I'm glad is in my collection. This was an essential right here. Alright, that's it. That's been my listening for the past week or so. I like doing these videos just to keep me occupied. So I like sharing these with you. Hopefully everyone is doing really well out there and not going, isolation can be rough, man. So hopefully you're like me, you got good music to listen to just to keep you company and help pass the time. We'll get through it. We'll get through it. Leave me some comments. Let's connect with each other. I miss you guys. Take care. See you at the next one.